Hey guys, Xlice here. It's time for E0 to E6 Mort Blade Showcase. Full guide on main channel as usual. You may have noticed that I did not make an E0 to E6 for Silverwolf or Evanesia, and that's because of a super tight video schedule and just not enough time to produce everything. Apologize for that, and hope you guys still enjoy these videos. For Blade, we'll be focused on two teams. We got the Acheron comp and we have the Ashveil comp doing MoC and Anomaly Arbitration when we hit a 0-cycle MoC. At E6, I'll add in a Main-DPS Showcase because he gets pretty busted. Quick run through of his build. Signature Light Cone. We have optimized crit rate, speed, HP relics. 4-piece Master Smith, 2-piece Bone for damage, and Speed Tune for -1 Sunday and ideal crit stats. We're going less on energy regen because we're scaling Eidolons to really see both his impact on team damage and also his own damage. So the speed is all we really need for a little bit of extra value. A little bit of a spoiler alert, his Eidolons all feel really good, 1, 2, 4, and 6. Rest of the team for these type of showcases here in terms of Ashveil, Acheron, and Main-DPS are going to be E0 S1 with the exception of Tribby. Tribby is going to be E0 with S5 DDD. Full disclaimer, none of this is optimal gameplay, just going with the flow to get good damage from the team. Alright, so starting off with E1, we got 20% all-type res pen shred, and his ultimate basically gets extended with the more extra skills he gets from his charge points. Alright, so this is our first comp. You guys are probably pretty comfortable. E0 on the Acheron team from the main guide video. Did a 2-cycle clear. It was kind of hard to get a 1-cycle clear. This one is a definitive 1-cycle clear, so we're doing a lot better here. And the order basically does the same thing. You don't really see much of a gameplay change. It's mostly just to see the damage difference. Damage increase, I should say. So I'll show you guys after the setup here, Acheron's damage level, and then we'll move forward. Alright, so first hit, 400k, 800k, 1.1 mil, and 2.9. So pretty good. Pretty good jump already. We're seeing about like a 15% increase here. So this is going to be a 0-cycle clear for sure. So we're going to move forward here. It's not really much to see. I'm just going to show you guys the full gameplay of how we achieve the 0-cycle for the second wave. The boss wave. All right, so we're going to play this whole thing through. Summons his ads. We go immediately Blade's ult because Blade's ult is true AoE. That means that Acheron's. This should basically kill all of his ads. So it should be just to the left. Oh no, there's halfway. Okay. But yeah, so Acheron's damage is ramping up already. You guys can see we're at 2.97 mil. Pretty nice. Boss HP right now originally would be about 60%, but now we're at 54. So we're getting a good amount of damage. Still have to be a little bit precise in how we played this out. I believe I'm going to go ahead and send a single target Cypher ult here. Just so that we don't lose damage on the ads. We're going to be able to kill the ads for sure with our ultimates. Alright, summoning ads here. Blade's passive. Acheron's going to go. Total damage. 2.97 again. And we're moved to phase 2. So after he summons ads here, I'm going to go ahead and send Blade's ult. And they're going to funnel that energy. Overall, what we're getting from E1 is effectively we never need to go into a second Blade ult, which you guys can see on the action counter. We might need to here, depending on if this next passive is enough to delay it. But we'll see. As you guys can see, 2 cycles is coming up here. We are getting his passive up. Let's see where it's extended to. So not long enough. I think I do wait here, right? We do want to wait. Blade without his ultimate is extremely weak. So you always want to make sure that you have his ultimate to be able to instantly refresh that. Because he doesn't gain any charges when he's not in ult state. Alright, so he exits, then we re-enter immediately, don't lose any downtime. Alright, so I think here what I'm going to decide to do is I'm going to hold this damage as much as possible. Because we noticed that we're going to be able to get an Acheron ult before this. I don't know if we can get a Blade ult. We might though. I think we do. So I think do I full E here? I don't think there's a difference because I already have all the charge stacks. So I do this. I just send an ult. Maybe I can get Blade's ult. If I can get Blade's ult, that should be really big. Just extra damage to guarantee this 1 cycle. So first up, Acheron's ulti damage. Okay. I think it's guaranteed here. I think honestly Cypher just kills here, but I just wanted to make absolutely sure. So we're good. Alright, so that is a tried and true 1 cycle. E1 definitely guaranteed it. You guys watched my guide video. We had to do 2 cycles with the Acheron. It was really hard too. We were pretty close, but we just didn't have enough damage. E1 guarantees it for sure. Okay, so next up we have E1 with Ashveil. This comp is pretty fast, I would say. Honestly, this one I think is one of my favorites when it comes to a sub DPS because Ashveil plus Mort Blade is insane amounts of just attacks everywhere. And Tribby I find to be the most consistent support here because every single time Tribby uses her ultimate, she gets a bunch of follow-up attacks. And those follow-up attacks trigger Ashveil, and both of those attacks help Blade stack up. It's just like it's a whole cycle of just follow-ups and damage and everything. So 1 stack, Ashveil, 2 stacks, Tribby ult, 3 stacks, Ashveil go, 4 stacks, Ashveil ult, 5 stacks. Like you guys can see how quickly this happens. 6 stacks, Tribby 7 stacks, Ashveil 8 stacks. Now Ashveil actually takes his turn, so there were 8 attacks that happened from that sequence. Now Blade triggers Ashveil. I like it. It's like really fun. Like you basically, the team basically plays itself from this point, and with more Eidolons, this team comp goes crazy, man. I think the quality of life that Ashveil has to gain a lot of passive energy really helps because like these characters basically don't take their turn. They basically just autoplay all their follow-up attacks and just do a fuck ton of damage and kill everything. Alright, so good. Just wanted to make sure that we killed here. Unfortunately, I'm going to overcap my energy on Blade here. You guys can see I'm at 80. Just a little bit unlucky. It's fine though. 2.2 mil. True AoE from Blade. Blade's ult is very strong. And it gets even stronger later, so. And then plop. Huge single target damage here. And we have Poho's ult, should be soon if I press E here. I think I basic because I think in my head I just want to stack as fast as possible because this comp doesn't really need to go crazy there. And we're going to get Poho's ult naturally to begin with, so I think it should be fine. Yeah, Ashveil's just going to E here. I think this is the correct play. We're chilling. So this is a difficult part. You guys can see how the units move here. Do I want to ult here? I mean, probably. But I want to phase him before he goes, so I think I might have to ult. It's kind of annoying, but yeah. Full ult here. 62 on energy. Oh, this is really unlucky. This is really unlucky. We still got a 1 cycle clear, but this is like incredibly unlucky. I think I actually wanted this to be 0%. I do end up getting, but like I waste a lot of Blade energy here. I could have probably sent another ult in this time. We're just really unlucky. It's fine. Alright, you guys are gonna see damage here, by the way. Watch this. So phase change into Ashveil ult. 1, 2, 3. Into Tribby's passive, which procs Ashveil's follow-up, which then we go Blade's passive into Ashveil, into Tribby's ult, into Ashveil, Blade's turn, press E, Tribby's ultimate DDD'd us, so we're still in the first cycle, and then it's dead. Impressive, huh? Yeah, you guys saw that, it's impressive. That's a 0 cycle on E1. That whole chain there from E1 is probably like the biggest wow factor when it comes to this particular team. And Tribby DDD, just great. Just absolutely great. Because without that DDD, as you guys can see, without the DDD increasing the Ash fans, I wouldn't have killed this in 1 cycle. Or in 0 cycles. Absolute cinema. Okay, really quickly here. We're going to fast forward a little bit of this. Because we 0 cycled MoC with the Ashveil comp, let's see how it does on the Knight or Anomaly Arbitration. Normally I would do the King, but the problem is the King doesn't have weaknesses in favor of this team. So we're going with one of the Knights, because at least these guys have Lightning and Fire weakness. Alright, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We don't need to really watch too much. This is basically the same stuff. You guys know exactly how this team plays. I'm just going to go to near the end so you guys can see what the hell's going on here. So cycles used 1. We're almost at the end here. Blade does insane amounts of true AoE. Passive's crazy. Yeah. I mean, overall, I'm just showing you guys the cycle clear, but like, there's not really much to talk about. You guys would just keep on watching the same type of gameplay. Yeah, unfortunately, you couldn't see the Ashveil stuff, but I think the previous showcase in MoC is pretty much the best way I can show how synergistic this team is when it comes to just massive amounts of damage from Ashveil, Blade, and Ruby. Alright, so I believe right here, we kill. Yeah, so this is a perfect kill on one cycle for the Knight. Just happened to get it off here. Ashveil single target, very good. So, alright, that is a one cycle on the first Knight. Very nice here. The debuff, by the way, is minus crit damage and minus damage percent, or less damage taken. But the stacks reduce if you do a follow-up. And as you guys know, this team has a lot of follow-ups, so we basically don't get any enemies debuffed. Okay, great. Let's move on to E2. So E2 is where things start to get a little bit crazy. This is where the damage really starts to ramp up. 75% damage to all ultimates, basically, because all ultimates are now considered follow-up attacks, and all follow-up attack damage is increased by 75%. So this means that Blade's charge at free skill gets 75% stronger. His ultimate, 75% stronger. Your teammates, Acheron ult, Ashveil ult, Ashveil follow-up, it's a lot of good stuff. And Blade's charge going from 9 to 7 is also significant because from here on forward, with the Infinite Fury, with the countdown being delayed, you do not exit ultimate for a long time. So that's important to know. All right, first up, like usual, we're gonna do the Acheron showcase. This one, as you guys can probably tell, is slightly lower single target DPS compared to Ashveil. That's completely expected because Acheron's damage is mostly AoE. All right, so first, I'm just gonna show you guys the first rotation. So you can see the damage increase, which is what's most important here. Once we'll hold ults, and we get everything set up, I'll send an Acheron ult, and then we'll move forward to wave 2. Okay, here we go. First tick damage is 400, 899, 1.4, 3.1. Slightly stronger. So I think we went from 2.9 to 3.1, and obviously we will get even more as more enemies come. Let's move forward here. That's a single target ult. Okay, second phase. This is the same stuff here. Acheron's ult because we are max charge and we have 2 passives. So we're just gonna get this out of the way. Then before everything, I do want to do Cypher because Cypher would get a single target nuke here. This chunks the boss down to 65, which is pretty nice. Has some extra skill points, so we can go ahead and do this. Blade's passive, you guys can see his countdown is very, very delayed, which is pretty good. Go ahead and hold here. I think we should go ahead and send Blade's ult. No reason to save it. There we go. So Blade's ult doing more damage. How much? 1.8 mil. Very juicy. Acheron's ult against 3 enemies. 300k. 65. So 1.9 is very good. You guys can see just the boss HP and how much it changes, right? We are definitely way above pace now. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. Not really much to show here. So this is a guaranteed 1 cycle. He's gonna summon Ab here. There we go. Okay, so he's guaranteed dead here. Acheron ult might just kill him here. 7%. I need Blade's ult. Blade's ult on 5 enemies. Let's see. 1.9. Beautiful. Okay, so very clean 1 cycle there. Nothing really to talk about. Things are going to start to get faster, by the way. So now I'm going to be on to E2 Ashveil. Just going to let the footage play as it shows up here. Yeah, I really like this comp. The Ashveil Blade comp is really juicy. I find it satisfying that the follow-ups just go. It's nice. So in terms of turn order here, I just wanted to mention to you guys why do a certain turn order. We always want to do Blade's ult ASAP because we need charges to increase. After that, Tribby's ult to the box. Then we can send everything else. So your number 1 priority is to get Blade and ult first no matter what, because He will not gain charges, which means if you're doing an extra attack, an extra follow-up attack, he would normally gain 2 charges from that. He'll gain 0 if he's on null. Pretty big. So now you can see he's 7 charges, 8 charges. That's 1.8 mil there. Kind of disgusting. By the way, you guys saw, right? That entire sequence of stuff. I don't think I'm... How much did I move? So at this comp, once you like activate all the abilities, the amount of attacks that occur is just so much. It kind of just wipes the screen. So, all right, Blade ult on the Ashveil comp. Ooh, yeah, guys, yeah, yes sir. Blade's starting to become a beast. Blade is starting to become a beast, man. It's just so strong. E2, by the way. His ultimate gets even stronger at E6, so if you're interested, look at how fast he kills, guys. Okay, and an E here. We phase him. Instant phase. Ashveil summons his ads. Once he summons his ads, Blade goes with his ult and just annihilates the screen because why not? 3 mil. They're all dead. Passive. His ult is almost up again. It's just juicy, bro. It's insane. Full ult. Okay. Yeah, we're done here. Kirby ult. This DDDs us. Ultimate. Attack. Ashveil goes. Single target, he's dead. Pew, 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 pew. Clean. 0 cycle. Juiced. Alright, really quick. This one's important. Short run. But onto anomaly arbitration. Ashveil Blade comp now for this night is 0 cycle. So, yeah. There is an upgrade. E2 is where this threshold of team gets to 0 cycle. The damage just ramps up a lot, man. That's all I can say. And as you guys can see, I didn't mention this in previous, but in anomaly arbitration, we got our energy decrease because of the debuff. This is where Blade's technique is really, really valuable because he taunts enemies guaranteed on the first wave when he uses technique. So he gets all the energy from being attacked. And then when it's his turn, he can only basic attack and he gets into ult form. So without it, he would probably need a little bit more time and a bit more RNG to get into it. But in this way, with his technique, he guarantees that he just gets enough energy. It's nice. Anyways, as I was yapping, you guys saw a bunch of damage start to go off, right? Once we start to get Ashveil ult and Blade ult and Ho-Ho ult, it just all just like happens. Okay, almost Ashveil ult. Ho-Ho's gonna do the ult here. So Ashveil can ult now. So Ashveil can now pummel this guy. Juiced. Blade's passive. Ashveil follow up. Attack boost for Ashveil. Perfect. Okay, waiting for enemies to spawn. Then we send Blade's massive ultimate. DC 2.5 mil. Another follow up attack. Okay, you guys get the gist, right? I'm gonna push forward a little bit so you guys can see the end. So you guys see it's pretty close. 24 AV left. Blade has ultimate. 3.1 million. 93% progress. All we need is Ashveil's ult and he's dead. So we're good. So it turns out to be a perfect 0 cycle with E2 Blade, which is pretty nice. And there it is. Juicy. All right, 0 cycle. So Ashveil comp has started to cap out. Pretty nice, but it only gets stronger from here on out. So now that E2 is done, E4. So E3 is ultimate +2, town +2, which is good. E4 is very simple. His trace passive increases ally damage by 50%. That's his passive. So yeah, we're doing 100% increased damage. Very nice. Very simple. We're gonna go... I mean, I don't know if I really need to show you guys this, but we'll show a little bit of the damage and we'll move forward because it's honestly pretty redundant at this point. I just am going to preface right now that the Acheron comp is still stuck on 1 cycle here. That's okay. So I'm just gonna show you Acheron's damage. We're gonna move forward here. Same buffing sequence as always. The reason why you Huohuo skill here instead of basic attack is because if you basic attack, that triggers Cypher's passive, which will overload Acheron's stack count. So be wasting her ult stacks. So this way, if I E, I get the ult, I get to proc Blade, etc. I don't waste as much. So we get to +1 here. If Huohuo went, it'd be +1, and then Cypher +1 again. So be a waste. Alright, so 500k now, and total damage 3.65. Juiced. We went from 3.1 to 3.65, which is a significant increase. That is a significant increase. Very nice. Okay. All I gotta say is just watch this team's damage with Ashveil. I don't really know. It just... Okay. Just watch. So, skill. Ult. This saves Ashveil's passive. Blade ult immediately. Get in phase. Then Tribby. Tribby damage. 580k. Okay, now Ashveil ult. Fire at whoever. Okay. Tribby. Ashveil. Blade. Ashveil. Yeah, so that's Blade 1. He's dead. Crazy, huh? That's the synergy of this team. Okay, well, I mean, that's my job done. I showed you exactly what I wanted to show you. So we are good there. Let's go ahead and move to E4 Ashveil Blade just to show you guys real quick. This same exact stuff here. We can move forward from here. Not really much to show in the beginning. It's fast though. This is 0 cycle clear again. Okay, Blade's gonna go. Blade's gonna ult. Blade's gonna do 4.7 million damage because he can. He's going to almost ult again. Ashveil's going to press E. Huohuo is going to do nothing relevant because it doesn't matter because Blade will kill everything when he E's and ults. So obviously each rotation is going to be slightly different, but we still do get the 0 cycle there. Very nice. Okay, finally, most important thing for you guys. E6. As the zone persists, Mort Blade takes damage or consumes HP, gains 1 charge. So if he does it himself, he'll gain 2 charges. Right? 1 for 8 consuming HP and 1 for attacking enemy by debuffing. Cool. Damage multiplier of his ultimate, his true ult, increased by 150% of its original value, so 50% final damaging. Yeah, so first up, I'm going to show you the Acheron Blade comp, and this comp, unfortunately, is like a cusp away from 0 cycling. That's okay. If you played slightly more optimized than me and like, you know, modified your relics in a different way, you would definitely get a 0 cycle. But for the sake of comparison purposes, we're sticking with identical situations to the other ones. My goal is just to show you, well, Acheron's damage is the same here. So 3.6, same thing. We're gonna move a little bit further here just so I can show you guys Blade's damage. So this is a tricky situation because it's at 9% HP and I really don't want to ult with Blade, but I do anyway. 813k single target, not bad. So this is where we almost get the 0 cycle. I'll show you. I waste Acheron's charges here, which is honestly my fault. If I didn't waste the charges here, we would have been fine. So damage from Acheron is 2.9 mil, very juicy. Huohuo has ultimate, we're gonna send that. We're gonna basic with Waffle here. We're gonna E into ultimate here, into Cypher. 830k again. Cypher, how much damage? Really close, but not quite. Yeah, would have been a 0 cycle, but yeah. All right. So that's not the shiny stuff, okay? The shiny stuff is upcoming. Okay, so just watch the magic happen, shall we? Let's go. We know wave 0 gets instantly deleted. Let's go to wave 2. All right, wave 2. All right, Bladey Poo, do your thing. Full AoE mobs here. Full buffed. 5.67. Yeah. Yeah. And then plop, plop, plop. Phase 2 already. Near instant. Oh, just basics. Doesn't really matter. He summons his shit. I do my thing. He does the follow-up. Blade holds everything. 9.7 mil. Dude, like... Yeah. This comp is what I really feel like slaps. Look at how fast he is. Like, look at how fast he's everything. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just, it's not even a contest, bro. All right, well, there you go. There you go, guys. That is true power. That is true power right there. All right, finally. Oh, wait. Sorry. I have more to showcase to you guys. This was fun. E6 Blade Main-DPS. So this one, you guys haven't seen the entire video. This is the first time I'm doing main DPS. And we're doing main DPS because he's E6 now. So we're using Sunday, Tribby, and Hyacinth to maximize Blade's damage. And also because Hyacinth's Light Cone is broken AF for Blade because it gives him multiple charges. So he is just charge city at this point. Very, very good. You can also use Full Hole, obviously, but Hyacinth is a little bit more premium and it gives Blade more damage. That's how we do it. Also speed tune for Sunday, so you get a maximum amount of turns, which helps with ults, which helps with damage, which helps with balls, you know? Alright, so Sunday, E, ulti. Go again. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get our charge thing, we're gonna proc, and then we're gonna ultimate, and then we're gonna do a single target ultimate that gets completely wasted, but that's fine because that's a lot of damage. Single target. Yeah. He's pretty cool. Blade is a pretty cool character. It's unfortunate that at E6, like, there's no point to include Acheron in it. It does make Acheron better, but the comp is strong with just Blade. So. Alright, 3-unit ultimate. I should have done a 5-unit ultimate there. Would have been sick. 5.5 mil with 3 units. And then boost. And then E. And then E again. And then ultimate, and then phase him. Like, it's just infinite, bro. Yeah. He's pretty cool. Alright, basic. You guys notice the stack count. 8 stacks. Passive. Hyacinth. Hyacinth is so many stacks, by the way. 3 stacks. 4 stacks. Tribby's ult 5 stacks. Basic 6 stacks. Hyacinth 6 to 8 stacks, 9 stacks. Passive. We want this. So the way I want to do this, by the way. Okay, we're 0 cycle, but yeah. I want to use his ultimate when I'm buffed by Sunday. And when I'm ulted by Sunday, just so we get all the buffs so we look cool and shit. And then we're gonna ult. And we're gonna kill him. And we're gonna get passive up again. He's such a crazy character. Okay, he's dead. Anyway, that's 0 cycle. 0 cycle main DPS Blade. Chill. Really chill, really chill, really chill. All right, final showcase. E6 main DPS Blade against the Knight. This one's fast, it's furious, and it's cool. The problem with this comp, though, is that Hyacinth having no energy is literally depression. Because we won't be able to ult for a while. But the good thing is, Blade is taunting everything so that we get our ult on turn 1. When we get our ult on turn 1, we can Sunday. And when we Sunday, we are buffed. Thank you, Silver Wolf, for your cheat code there. So the double charge is just crazy because it allows so many more free skills, more energy, which is more ultimates. It's just a feedback loop, right? Almost time for highs and ult. Alright, 7 stacks. Boom. Go ahead and ulti here. 4.2 million without Sunday's ultimate because it's going to take us forever to get there. That's fine. Yeah. Comp is fun. Comp does a lot of damage. More Blade is slapping it. Look at how often this guy ults, by the way. Crazy. Got ult ready again. Wanna wait until Sunday buffs me? Okay, now we set our ulti. 5.4 mil. We're almost at ulti again. On a basic here. There we go. 9 stacks. Charge. Yeah. I don't really know much what else to say. Just watch it. It's cool. It's fun. Oh wait, this is cool. This is our first time Sunday's ulting. Congratulations, Sunday. You did it. Now I'm buffed. Damage. 6.34 mil. Very nice. E. Into getting highest in passive. Into another E. Into ultimate. .2 again. It's just cinema, guys. It really is. It takes a long time for him to actually exit his ult because he's getting so many free skills. There it is. Another 7 stacks and another ultimate soon. There it is. Another ultimate. There it is. I mean, what can I say, man? He's just hella cool. All right, boys. That is a really solid showcase. I don't know what more else to say. His E6 is really good. His E4 is okay, but still good. His E2 is really good. And his E1 is pretty good. Overall, he gains value, but your whole team also gets value. You get multiple sources of buffing. Best thresholds, E2 felt the best for me. Your whole team does more damage, and most of the units that synergize with him use their ultimates as their main source of damage. It's really nice. Anyone who has follow-up attacks also gets a lot more. E1 is still nice to have, though, because the countdown delay is pretty valuable to stay on ult as long as possible. E4 is definitely the weakest, but still gives you 50% increased damage, which is quite nice. Obviously diminishing returns. And then E6 if you wanted to make him just a powerhouse. More passive means more energy and more free follow-up attacks, right? His free skill, which leads to a lot more ultimates. You guys can see that in one cycle, if you like have an optimal team comp, he can probably ult like 4 to 5 times just because of how often he's getting hit, losing HP, but also like debuffing enemies, and then triggering the passive. And then, yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think of his easier DCs in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Overall, very, very solid. GG's.